Hi parents, if you're watching this, you've been on a long journey seeking answers for your child's health challenges. You've probably eliminated foods, tried various supplements, and worked with tons of specialists. We've all been there. Finally, you've discovered neurologically focused chiropractic care, and after a few weeks, your chiropractor, your pediatric chiropractor, shows you a colorful insight scan with exciting news. There's less red, more green, the scores are improving, these scans look great. Now, there's just one problem. What if your child's nervous system hasn't changed much yet? The meltdowns are maybe still happening. The digestive issues are persisting, or there's still some sensory challenges left. Now, you might be wondering, is this care actually working? Why am I seeing changes on these objective measurements, these scans, but not in my child? Now, this apparent disconnect between improving scans and persistent symptoms isn't that the care isn't working for you. It's actually evidence that true healing is beginning exactly where it should, from the inside out. And so that's really what I want to talk about today, that it's happening at the neurological level before visible symptoms change. Now, here's kind of the stats that go behind this. According to the CDC, I know we don't quote them a ton, but we're going to quote them here. There's 40% of children that suffer from at least one chronic health condition. For these families, the conventional approach has traditionally focused solely on signs, symptom management, rather than addressing the root cause. So this creates this troubling cycle where medications may work, but they temporarily mask the signs without supporting true healing. So in our practice, we consistently observe a pattern that patients report where insight scan improvements happen actually before noticing significant symptom changes. This isn't coincidental either. It's actually evidence that neurological recovery is happening first. Research has even shown that the brain's neuroplasticity, that's the brain's ability to actually rewire in the moment, allows it to reorganize these pathways, create new connections, and in some cases, even create new neurons, especially when kids are younger. That's why I love pediatric care. It's like upgrading your computer's operating system even after the installation is complete. Individual programs, they need time to fully integrate within the new system. So a lot of times you'll see these symptoms or signs lag behind the neurological improvements. So I want to talk to you today. If you're watching this video, you've been under care, you're amazed at what chiropractic is doing, and you're probably a little perplexed about, okay, what are these scans measuring again? I know we try to go over these as we do the scans, but it's tricky. You're trying to work with your kid. It's the first time they're learning this process and seeing this equipment. So what I want to start here is go over what the insight scans look at. Now, they provide an objective window into your child's nervous system function through really three primary components. Now, the first component of this is called heart rate variability, or HRV. Now, you probably heard of HRV if you've been up late at night Googling, but it's really a measurement of the balance between the fight or flight side of the nervous system, which is really the get after it stress side, and then the rest, relax, and digest branches of the autonomic nervous system. So that's so important because it tells us where our kids are at, really just that general neuro reserve or depth and the emotional side of it. Now, the next scan we look at is called surface EMG. I'm not going to try to pronounce the full word. It's electromyography, but surface EMG assesses the electrical activity of muscles. So think about this very simply as looking at the tone of muscles. And here's why this is important in the nervous system, is when we see stress happen, it not only happens in the brain biochemically, right? And then it's expressed through emotions. We actually see a physical side of stress, right? If your kids get stressed, we see the shoulders come up. We see that, the fist gets clenched. We get this physical manifestation of stress and tension. And so tone is altered in the body. We want to measure that tone and tension even when kiddos are just sitting at rest. If they're still at tension when they're at rest, it means their nervous systems are a little more subluxated, a little more stressed, and have too much tension that's overfueling the brain. So that's a very important scan. The third scan we look at is our thermal scan. Now, thermal scanning is awesome, and it's used in a lot of different fields. What we look at it for is we use the infrared sensors to measure temperature differences along the spinal nervous system, which can indicate areas of what we call dysautonomia, where there's imbalances in that temperature and the nervous system isn't communicating as well throughout the body's systems and symptoms. through that. Now, what you'll see is when we see these clumpings, clusters, crescendos, color in these areas of temperature change, there's oftentimes a connection downstream, similar to a fuse box, where we actually see a system, organ, or gland that struggles. So these scans look at really the health of our nervous system in 3 different ways. The HRV, the overall side of it, the reserve, the EMG that looks at the tone and tension, and then the thermal scan that really looks at that deeper autonomic connection to the visceral systems. Again, that fuse box analogy. Now, conventional medicine has always taught us to focus on those outward signs and symptoms. If they're gone, you're better. But this misses that crucial truth about healing. Signs are always the last thing to appear when health deteriorates, and therefore the last thing to actually resolve when health improves. And that's why scans are so important. So insight scans, they're almost like this weather radar detector that is looking into the future for you, where you're looking at these clear skies, but there might be clouds forming on the horizon and the storm's coming. And you only know that because of the weather forecast. So in the scan sense, there actually might still be storming, but they're showing clear skies that are on the way that we want to be able to translate to you. That means the good foundational neurological building blocks are happening, even though we can't see them. Now, this pattern follows that natural healing wisdom of the body too, because oftentimes symptoms go away last. That's because the nervous system has to do things. It has to detox. It has to work through things. It has to get comfortable again to new changes. Change is not just hard outside of the nervous system, guys, when we get into a new environment for kids. It is very hard internally too. And so when you have a big, perfect storm of factors that initially disrupted your child's nervous system, expect for healing to take time, and if they've accumulated for years, to take a lot of time. But that doesn't mean healing's not happen just because we can't see it. Now, what's amazing with chiropractic care is when we make these small, gentle adjustments in areas of neurospinal dysfunction, what happens there, it creates these healthier neurological pathways. We can pick up those on the insight scans and detect these positive changes as we go. We can actually look at them immediately. This is actually why sometimes we'll scan after an adjustment, and a lot of times, the majority of the time we scan before, but you can actually see the changes with that adjustment of how it's made the nervous system work differently. So then we look at it, okay, what is the global and what are the regional changes that are happening as we go through care? Then we break it down into phases, and understanding the timeline of improvements helps us set realistic expectations for your child's healing journey. Everyone's healing journey is different, but I just want to assure you today, it's very, very common to see detoxes happen first. It's very, very common to see sensory, behavioral struggles get amped up before healing really takes place. That's how the nervous system works. It becomes uncomfortable when it's changing. Much like when you put something in a better environment, at first it's a little bit scary, but long-term the nervous system adapts and it starts to not only show that on the scans objectively, but then you start to see it in the signs and symptoms in your child outwardly. But I want this video to really encourage you that if you haven't seen that yet, but your docs are saying, hey, the scans look great, healing is on the way. Progress is on the way, and it's already happening. So if you haven't heard about these scans before, I encourage you, check the link in our bio, learn more about these insight scans. They are amazing to help your child's healing journey. And if you're already in it, talk to your doc more about these, because understanding these scans are so, so important. And we would love to dig in here at PWC to help you on your child's healing journey.